Hey guys, I thought I'd make this one about my channel and about me. Are you just as curious as I am about personal finance? I mean, at the end of the day, it's really quite simple, right? It's just looking at how much you earn minus how much you spend, and then trying to optimize that difference, that savings. Okay, so obviously you could increase your earning, you could lower your spending, but that difference, what you've been doing with that difference, what have you been stockpiling it? Have you been spending it all? Has it gone into bad investments, earning negative, or even just sitting in cash under your pillow and getting zero or probably losing to inflation? Or have you been a smart investor and potentially taking that money and optimizing it, bringing it somewhere like investing it in stocks or investing in real estate or maybe investing it in crypto, other things as well. So this channel, let me just go outside for a second. So in this channel, I'm going to basically share with you guys my thoughts on personal finance, something I've been really passionate about for at least the last decade, throughout my 30s, and what I've really learned in the last few years. We're going to talk about how to invest in real estate, different niches, different monetization strategies, so different types of real estate, different ways of making money in real estate. We'll talk about securities like stocks, index funds, ways you can invest in futures, crypto, other derivatives, and other assets. We'll look at alternative investing, things like cars, luxury watches. We'll look at some tips in terms of investment accounts and tax savings, how you guys can save taxes through certain types of tax-advantaged investment accounts, and other tips as well as I share with you my thoughts on all things personal finance. We'll look at how you can make more money, how you can save more money, and some other good mental and psychological approaches that should help you guys through your journey in personal finance. So we're going to also intersperse this with some interviews with leading experts, which I hope you look forward to and you enjoy as much as I enjoy interviewing these people and just getting to know a whole load of new people, as well as talking to people that I already know and sharing them with you. So let's go for a quick drive. Okay, let's get going. You know what? Instead, just give them the day that's in it. Yeah, that's a bit better. Let's take a ride in this one. Okay. So a little bit about me, a bit about my backstory. Now, I grew up in Dublin, Ireland. I was the son of two teachers, essentially. So I had a relatively happy childhood, and still I have a drive. One pair of grandparents were farmers. The other pair of grandparents were in construction and real estate. So this was more blue-collar carpentry, essentially, on my father's side. So working for the Royal Air Force during World War II, working as a carpenter, they had to move to England from Ireland at the time. And so although born in Ireland, my father spent most of his young life growing up in England and working in England. So my father didn't even finish high school and then went into plumbing and HVAC, kind of blue-collar work, and then started working on the London Underground, and then decided to go into TV, fixing televisions. So he was always interested in television. Even when he was a youngster, he would organize a film club. He would also take a lot of books in a wheelbarrow, literally a wheelbarrow, to bring them home from the library. So he swallowed up information, and that was taking after his father's side, really interested in opera, etc., which was very unusual for a working class family. And eventually he got himself into working in the education, like TV education, for Inner London Education Authority, so using TV as a medium for education. Returned to Ireland in the 1970s. Then he applied and landed a job, a much coveted job. There was a few thousand applicants. He got one of the few jobs in the BBC, working in Top of the Pops. And he would go on to work with John Lennon after he left the Beatles, And of course, that was the time where he was married to Yoko Ono, before he came to Ireland, where he worked at a university temporarily, and then he landed another much coveted job in Trinity College Dublin, where he went on to being professor in film and TV media education. And on my mother's side, she did some work as a missionary in Africa in the late 1960s, early 1970s, and then went into teaching in disadvantaged areas, and then working on computers and working on remedial education, etc. Teaching was definitely a background for both my parents. In the college side, I guess, with my father, and in the elementary school teaching with my mother's side. You know, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought maybe law, like I'd probably read too many John Grisham novels or the character Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird. But then, you know, when I applied, I really didn't know what I wanted to study. And I got some experience. I did maths and economics, and I had got some experience in a stockbrokers company. So after interning in a stockbrokers, in my second year, I got some research experience under a professor, as well as working for a charity, a hospice charity, using the similar kind of techniques, looking at real estate and the financial services sector, so investment companies, etc., looking for philanthropers. But much nicer environment in the charity, and really I got the research bug. So Das Adam Smith Problem, when you look at Adam Smith, the father of economics, his whole ideas seem to change a lot between the theory of moral sentiment and his opus magnum, which was The Wealth of Nations. So that really was the book that catapulted economics. It really is the beginning of modern economics. And in the first book, he is very optimistic about the banking system, but not so much in the second book. So the question is why? And I was able to go in and figure out the money and the ownership that his patron was responsible for. So his patron, paying him his pension essentially, was losing a lot of money in the banking system. So that's how he changed his view. That is that you don't really bite the hand that feeds you. If your patron is losing a lot of money in a particular system, you're not going to be so positive about that system, which is the banking system. So just that idea of contributing to knowledge and contributing to the advancement of society, I thought that's a wonderful experience. So I thought I'd love to do more of that. I was quite studious in college. Afterwards, I applied and went to pursue my first master's, part of the PhD program at Cambridge University, Cambridge, UK. And then I took a gap year, as we Europeans do, was working on a book and other things as well. And I then got into 6 of the top US colleges, fully funded for PhD, and I attended Northwestern. But then after a year living in Chicago, I decided to come back to Ireland and to finish up my PhD there. Or so I thought. Actually, in the third year of my PhD, I switched temporarily to visiting the University of Pennsylvania. And then I went back, finished my PhD in Dublin, and I was halfway to retirement almost 30, 28, I think at that point, when I was graduating. So I landed a job just outside of Philadelphia, close enough to the University of Pennsylvania, as well as the Federal Reserve Bank at Philadelphia. And I'm basically, you know, you could say my main job is a professor of economics. And my specialty, it's quite a mouthful, is computational, international, financial, macroeconomics. So there's a lot going on there. But I caught a bug. I caught this personal finance bug a few years ago, probably about a decade ago at this point, almost when I was hitting 30. And I've never looked back. I mean, there's a reason now that I'm able to drive a supercar, right, is because of what I've done. So I started with income, you know, like offer up, selling things, etc. So when I first got the personal finance bug, you know, it was really very much about getting into side income at the beginning. So just looking at selling stuff, like on Amazon, when DVDs were still a thing, I was trying to get rid of a lot of stuff like junk, and going to, I guess, car boot sales, what we say in Ireland, but over here, I guess you have a different terminology for it. But sort of, I guess you could flea market. So just trying to get rid of stuff. One other thing that I got into then was not just making money on the side like that, but also precious metals. So precious metals was one of the first things that I really took into. Then I got into stock picking, like Motley Fool kind of thing, like fundamental analysis, looking at the companies, individual companies, building out a portfolio that's diversified, different asset classes, different sizes, etc. And then from there, I really started getting into the index funds. It took a while before I kind of converted over, but then I really got into FIRE as well, so the financially independent retire early, and that's when I started living way below my means. So then I started living well below my means. Maybe not in somewhere like this, a little bit, there's no heating here, so maybe not quite as desperate as what they did in Valley Forge, but certainly living below your means for a while can really accelerate your growth, and that's what I did for a few years, and really took off. Then a few years later in 2019, I was going to sleep one night and I saw this ad about how you can make money from real estate without owning any real estate, which I was just shocked about. So I got into rental arbitrage and I started my first LLC. It was a baptism of fire, being a small business owner, a CEO, etc., and having to do the taxes and everything, but it was rewarding. That was 2019. I kept it going during COVID, where it was a tough year for obviously with the travel industry, but that was a proof of concept that it could work. Then 2021 got into my first single family buy home, cosmetic flip, or rather a cosmetic renovation. And then I lived there, got rid of the PMI, reappraised it, got rid of the PMI, took a HELOC out. And then, when I was there long enough, I was able to rent it out short term, make a killing on that one. And, at that point then I moved in 2022 to a multifamily where I was able to live there and renovate that one as well. So that was in 2023 then. I was able to start renting it out once I'd removed the PMI as well and conditionally renovated it. So, for a few years, the living below your means really, really helped, really accelerated my growth. And if you had probably been, like this 2024, started this kind of social media tour, a social media platform, and the social media career as a side hobby, really, just a kind of a creativity outlet. And if I'd been doing the videos the last few years, you might have seen me living in places that were a little bit less desirable, living on the ground in a lot of these renovations, these homes, these fixer-uppers, or living in places that are much cheaper. Because I did that, I moved out to basically really maximize my saving. I was saving almost everything. And it's only very recently, probably in the last year or so, that I've allowed myself to really enjoy things again. I'm kind of getting used to the spending muscle now at this point, like whether it's luxury watches that I can wear for free, or whether it's supercars, things like that, or living in an apartment. So right now, it's kind of strange. I'm renting an apartment, even though I own places, and it's for a reason. It's like, well, I don't have to take care of the apartment, and it's a minimal, like the rent I'm paying is the maximum amount that you pay per month. Whereas with a house, the mortgage is the minimum, because you could have all kinds of things going wrong with it. And you got the headache too. So I have now automated the real estate career. So I've pretty much managers, everything working for me like that. So I don't have to worry about it so much. And in my rent, I've minimized that. So it's really made life much easier. So I can really enjoy what I'm doing. The thing that I discovered that I'm most interested in is algorithmic trading. And so that's where I got into crypto, mainly the blue chip like Ethereum, Bitcoin. I also got into options about 2 years ago, 2 years ago now at this point, 22, where I found that you can make very conservative strategies to like collar options, etc., like a wheel strategies as well, where you think about when you own a stock or an index, it's like owning a house. You're just waiting for appreciation and things like that, or if you're shorting it, obviously it's the opposite. But when you have options, you can kind of almost earn rent on the house, on the stock. And when you have options, you can also have like an insurance on the stock. So it's actually really jacking up your returns. Also futures too, just with the amount of trading you can do with those. So given my computational background, my training essentially, what I've been doing for now almost 2 decades, like it was a natural fit with the maths and economics background to kind of do algorithmic trading. So that's really the future, and I'm just doing this sort of social media on the side for the creativity, but it's fun and we'll see where it goes. So hope that was a little bit helpful to give you guys a little background about the story. And you know, I look forward to having interviews with some of these world-leading professionals, some of which I already know from career, like in investment banking and private equity and real estate as well, but also some new ones. So if you enjoy that, leave a like, comment if you want to tell me what you want to see more of in future videos, and share. Definitely share with people that you know, so that this gets out to as wide an audience as possible. If you're not a subscriber, click on that link. It's totally free. You'll never miss another video. It helps the algorithm, and I'd really appreciate it. So thank you so much, you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.